Detoxification, it's not what you think it is. My name is Dr. Beata Harasim, and I'm a holistic and integrative doctor, specializing in 4 main areas of digestion, gut health, food allergies, weight loss, fertility, prenatal and postnatal care, and anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout. And today in this video, we're going to talk about what is detoxification and what it isn't. And we're going to talk about how do we detoxify, how does this relate to nutrition and gut health and overall health. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that you can start implementing today and right in this moment. And also we're going to talk about how this fits into the Radiant Health Protocol. So if you'd like the entirety of this complimentary mini course, go ahead and click on the link below. That way you'll get access to all of the videos and resources. And so again, my name is Dr. Beata Harasim, and I partner with ambitious and purpose-driven individuals who are ready to get to the underlying root causes of their health and wellness challenges to activate radiant health, wellness, and well-being and reclaim their vitality. This transformation allows them to make a profound and aligned impact on the world and enjoy the fruits of their labor. And I do this using the Radiant Health Protocol. This has 5 pillars, and we're going to briefly go through them. So nutrition is the first pillar, nourishing our body, mind, and soul. Gut health is healing leaky gut and optimizing the gut microbiome while opening detoxification pathways. So that's what we're going to go deeper into today. Nervous system regulation is the third one. So that is getting out of this fight or flight stage of our nervous system and into a rest and digest state so that our body can access its innate wisdom, heal, and maintain health. The fourth pillar is emotional energetics, and this is understanding and acknowledging that emotions can manifest in physical and mental conditions, and by integrating and processing the energies of these emotions, we are freed up for optimal health, vitality, and well-being. And number 5 is decoding our body's language. So tapping into our body's innate wisdom to access exactly what is in the highest and greatest good for us in any moment. And we do this using divine muscle testing and learning the signs and symptoms that the body gives us. And this protocol is here to empower you. And let's go ahead and dive in. So what is detoxification? Detoxification is the body's natural process of eliminating or neutralizing toxins. And so we have multiple detoxification pathways that this is done through. And if your pathways are blocked, toxins accumulate and your body becomes overburdened and sick. Dis-ease happens. And when we look at detoxification, a holistic approach is crucial. So how many of you have heard of cleanses like a candida cleanse or a heavy metal detox or a parasite detox or a juice detox, etc., etc.? This is not detoxification. What we're talking about, right, is when we are doing these things, so when we detoxify, we want to help toxins move out of our body. Our body's doing that naturally and innately. And what we want to do is we want to support our body. We want to help our organs and our pathways work better so that these toxins can move out freer. And so some of the reasons why these things that I mentioned before, like a cleanse, like a candida cleanse, etc., is not beneficial and actually not what you want to do without doing the work first, without doing making sure you're optimizing nourishment, without working on your gut health first, is because all of this is part of this harmony within our body. And so we have something called a microbiome, and they are trillions of microorganisms living in and inside of us and outside of us as well on our skin. And the microorganisms are there in a balance. And so when we look at something like candida, which is a yeast overgrowth, and if we have a yeast overgrowth, we need to look at what the root cause of that is. So for example, with candida, did you know that one of the jobs of candida is to sequester heavy metals? So I think of candida as like this cotton ball, right? This soft, spongy kind of thing. And when there are heavy metals within the body, candida actually surrounds them and sequesters them so that they can't go around causing damage within our body. So what happens if someone does do a candida cleanse and they attack it with these herbals and all of this harsh ingredients, right? And maybe we do get rid of the candida or a large amount of it, right? Now this heavy metal is free to move around the body, float around the body, and wreak havoc. So sometimes by doing these cleanses and detoxes, people actually feel worse. They actually get more symptoms because they're actually opening up, kind of like Pandora's box. Now, same thing with like a heavy metal detox. So if we are eating things and potentially changing our diet to detox heavy metals, but our detox pathways are not open, then that is actually going to mobilize heavy metals. And again, they're going to bounce around and move around our body with nowhere to go. So we need to make sure that our detoxification pathways are open, that we're able to eliminate the toxins. Because if we're not able to do that, then we're actually going to make ourselves feel worse. And so I'm curious, how many of you have experienced that? Have you tried a detox or a cleanse and said, nope, it doesn't work for me, because you felt worse afterwards? And this is how my approach is different, is that we don't jump into these things. We work closely to open our detoxification pathways, support them, make sure they're functioning optimally. First, before we do anything like that, we work on optimizing gut health. And what happens is when we take those two first steps, things, again, our body innately knows how to rebalance. So innately, as we're supporting and nourishing our body and detoxifying naturally, innately, those microorganisms like Candida are going to naturally start leaving our body. Heavy metals will naturally be able to leave our body. Parasites will be naturally able to leave our body. Same thing, parasite detoxes are a big fad, you can say, nowadays. And again, we need to be aware of what is the job of parasites. They're little critters that are literally going around eating up waste. So if we're not eliminating properly, if our detoxification pathways are not open, those parasites are playing an important role. So if we do a detox for those parasites without cleaning up the first part, again, we're potentially going to make ourselves feel worse. So that is why, again, this holistic approach is very important. We need to take certain steps to prepare our body and support our body doing what it already does naturally. And the other thing I want to mention is that detoxification is not just physical, because what many of us think is just a diet, right? Changing our diet, doing juicing, or, changing nutrition-wise. It can actually be mental, it can be emotional, it can be energetic, behavioral, environmental, and social. We may need to detoxify multiple aspects of our lives, and likely all of them for many of us. And I also invite you to think of it in a way, especially from the emotional and mental components, of releasing and letting go of what is no longer serving you, what is no longer in alignment with you, and what may be stopping you from your highest potential. So how do we detoxify, right? How does our body do this? So in our body, naturally, we have many detoxification pathways. We have our digestive system and colon. We have our liver and gallbladder, kidney and bladder, lungs, our skin, our lymphatic system, and then again, our mental and emotional states. So that includes the brain, our nervous system as well. And we want to make sure that we're addressing all of these when we are focusing on detoxification, because they all work together. And using the gut-brain axis, we can clearly see how our gut health, how our nourishment can affect our mental status, how it can affect our mental clarity, how it can affect our energy levels versus fatigue. So all of this is connected. And if we only focus on one small area, for example, like diet, we're going to miss a whole host of other aspects that are going to absolutely play a big part in our transformation and our journey. So especially if you've tried something like this and you haven't seen improvement, and you haven't felt better, or you've potentially felt worse, these are the reasons why. So one is detoxification pathways weren't open. Two is that you weren't nourishing your body for detoxification. You weren't supporting your detoxification pathways. Three is you were going too fast and too hard. Some of these, again, microorganisms are beneficial in a sense. They're there for a reason. And the other thing is that you may have only been focusing on one aspect of detoxification, not the whole range. So one of the things I invite you to is the Holistic Detox Mini Retreat. This is something I'll go ahead and bring the link below for the retreats that I have available. And during this Holistic Detox Mini Retreat, we take a truly integrative approach to detoxification. So using guided meditation, emotional energetics, energy work, we identify what are the things that you are ready to let go of. what is no longer aligned with you, what is no longer in your highest and greatest good. So that will be linked below. If you're interested in that, please check it out. It is absolutely transformative. The feedback from it has been amazing. Now, let's talk about how does detoxification relate to nutrition, gut health, and overall health, right? So when I talked about my 5 pillars of the Radiant Health Protocol, detoxification wasn't one of them. Do you know why? Because it actually bridges the gap between nutrition or nourishment and gut health. So when we look at detoxification, we need to have optimal nutrition to nourish and support our body so that detoxification can happen. So just recently in the Radiant Health and Wellness Mastermind and Life program, we were working through this. We worked from nourishing our mind, body, and soul, and how that applies to detoxification, and then how that transitions into gut health. Because you can't do gut health without making sure that your detoxification pathways are opening and functioning well. And it is closely related, because anytime we're doing this healing work, we need to make sure that toxins have a way to move out, that we can eliminate them. So again, I don't recommend doing any kind of protocols, working on gut health, working any cleanses or detoxes without opening your detoxification pathways first. And what happens is these detoxification pathways, they maintain our health. So as long as they are open and functioning well, then we literally, our body innately knows how to maintain our health and keep disease and conditions away. Now, how does this relate into daily activity, right? I want to give you some tips and tricks that you can leave with today and start implementing right away. So number one, the first thing you need to be aware of is you need to be having a bowel movement daily. And it is important to have a full bowel movement. So this is one of our main ways of detoxification, and many of us are constipated. There are multiple clients that I've talked with and worked with who say they poop every 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Not good. We need to make sure that we are pooping daily. There's multiple ways to do this without medications, without alternative, over-the-counter drugs and things like that. That is part of the protocol. Again, how do we nourish our body so that elimination works well? What are some natural holistic practices that we can use to support that? The next thing is sweating. Make sure that you sweat. So this can be in a number of ways. It can be moving your body, exercising, dancing, jumping around. If you have kids, playing with them. And getting that sweat. Sweat is another way that our body detoxifies. Sunlight is another one. Get outside and get your sunlight. This is one that we forget about often, and it is so important for our skin, again, for our well-being and our wellness overall, and also for detoxification. Grounding is another one, so being out in nature, putting our bare hands and feet on the ground, or the beach, or wherever you may be. Even now, when I'm filming this, it is winter time in the Northeast. So go ahead and just put a bare hand on the ground, even if it is cold. That is a great way to start grounding. There are all sorts of other ways that we can improve that as well. But that is something that is easy, free, accessible to everyone. And again, we go into more detail on all of this during the Holistic Detox Mini Retreat. Another thing is make sure you're drinking clean water, filtered water, water that is clean, because if you are on a city water system, sewer system, then your water has all sorts of toxins in there, fluoride, chlorine, etc. All sorts of other micro amounts of things in there. We need to make sure that we're getting clean water, so you need a filter for your water. The next thing is our food. Eat whole foods. Processed foods, if you turn around the box or bag and you look at the list of ingredients, there are chemicals in there, there are toxins in there. The FDA doesn't always have our back. And so when we look at that list, are there ingredients that you can't pronounce? Are there ingredients that you have no clue what that is? Look into it. I invite you to, whatever you're eating next, take a look at the label. And the best way to avoid that is by eating whole foods. No labels required. The next thing is removing toxins from your home. Take a look at your personal care products. Take a look at your cleaning products. What do you have in your home that is potentially a toxin? The best way to detoxify is get it out. Use an alternative, use a clean version. And the other thing is be conscious of what we're watching, listening to, and reading. I invite you to really be aware and mindful of what we're consuming, because again, that mental and emotional component of detoxification is very important. So when we are on social media, who are we following? What are the videos that we're watching on YouTube? What are we reading? What are the shows or movies that we're watching? How do we feel after them? Do we feel anxious and worried and fearful after watching the news? Or do we feel uplifted and empowered when we watch a movie, for example, or read a certain post or article, etc.? Your body knows. Listen to your body. Take a moment to be aware and conscious of how you're responding to what you're consuming. So how does this all fit into the Radiant Health Protocol? Again, I mentioned that the detoxification portion is this bridge between nourishment and gut health. And on a grand level, when we look at detoxification, we are supporting our physical health, and we're also supporting our nervous system regulation, and we are moving the energies and emotions associated with that when we're focusing on this at the same time. So again, if you'd like the entirety of this complimentary mini course that I'm going through, go ahead and click the link below. You will get access to all the replays, all the resources, and as always, I wish you and your loved ones all the best, and I will see you on the next video.